Look what recently arrived at Ground Control RC. Alright, this plane is from Radiolink, and they sent this for review, and I want to thank them much for sending this for review. I had been hoping for a long time, after reviewing and flying the Radiolink A560 Beginner 3D plane, which is absolutely fantastic, I was hoping they would come out with another plane, and they finally have. And they've come out with a park jet. That kind of surprised me. They came out with a park jet. This is a little SU27. There is no gluing or anything required. We've got the vertical stabilizers here. I'll go ahead and put it in. You want the green facing outward. And they just snap into the slots here. There's little plastic keepers that will keep them in there. You'll hear a little click, and they're not going to come back out. So, and that's the only assembly that you have. Even my prop was pre-installed. So, no worries there. I would, and I always recommend that whenever you get a new plane, always go through and make sure everything is tight, okay? Now this is kind of unique setup that I've seen before, but I haven't flown before. And so looks like it's Elevon mixing, but you've got four sets of control surfaces. You've got the ailerons and you've got the elevators. You've got Elevon mixing, and all those control surfaces work together. So if you look at the linkage, and I like the fact that they used linkage stops on the control horns instead of little Z-bends. This makes it really easy to adjust your center on your control surfaces if you need to. So you want to make sure that all these screws are tight, right? Make sure the screws on your servo control arms are tight. Make sure that the retaining nut on your motor for your prop is tight before you ever run it up or throw it in the air. But they have a Z-bend on this control rod that goes through the control horn for the aileron. From the servo to the control horn on the aileron to the control horn on the elevator, with a linkage stop there and a linkage stop on the servo arm. So I like the way they set that up. And what I saw from the A560 was that Radiolink really puts out some really good quality stuff. You know how I love their gyros. So this is made out of PP board, which is like it's kind of spongy and kind of flexible, like EPP foam. And this is the same type of foam that the A560 is made out of. It's extremely durable. I would say it's just as durable as EPP foam. Now it's kind of a hybrid profile plane because they've got this air intake here, and the air intake, you know, hides most of the electronics. The gyro, and they have a new type of gyro in this. This is the first time I've seen this particular gyro from Radiolink. You know that I've oohed and awed over their Byme-As and their Byme-Ds. And so they took the Byme-D and they built on it. So this has got, I think it's got dynamic PID tuning. So we're going to see how that works out. But it runs off of a 2S, and I just got confirmation that you can also put a 3S LiPo on it. So just make sure that if you use a larger 3S LiPo, just make sure that you've got it positioned so that you get your CG correct on the plane. The first time that we take it out, I'm going to be testing it with the 2S LiPo. And then we're definitely going to be testing it with the 3S LiPo. I think this little park jet is going to be a cloud buster, you know. So it's got I think it's got very similar ESC to what the A560 has. It has a fly color 15 amp brushless ESC that is rated for 2S to 4S, and it has a 5 volt 2 amp back. So no worries about enough power to those two digital servos. And let me read you all the specs off of it. It has a 2S 600 milliamp hour LiPo, and it has the Radiolink R8XM SBUS PPM receiver, and I have used that in the past. It's another very good receiver. But let me give you all the specs here. The wingspan is 400 millimeters, which is 15.8 inches. This park jet, this SU27, is almost identical in size to my Glue and Fly series DIY Micro F22. The wingspan on it's 15 inches, so it's slightly larger wingspan. But I was surprised because I love the way that DIY F22 part jet flies. I was really surprised that this one is almost identical in size to that one. So I think it's going to be an awesome little park jet. So 400 millimeter wingspan, 15.8 inches. The length is 478 millimeters or 18.8 inches. It says the takeoff weight with the battery is 116 grams. Now I just put mine on the scale with the stock battery with both of the vertical stabilizers, you know, I just laid them on the back of it. And my all-up weight with the stock battery is 119 grams. So very, very close. There's always a little bit of variation in the airframes, you know, when they mold this foam, and there's always a little bit of variation in the weight of the LiPo. So 116 grams, mine's 119. It's extremely lightweight for its size. It says flight time of 9 minutes. It has the gyro that it has on it has 3 different modes. It has stabilized mode, which is beginner mode, which will limit your bank and your pitch angle, and it will self-level the plane. So that's what you want to start off with. And then it has gyro mode, and gyro mode works like a wind mitigation mode. It doesn't self-level, it doesn't limit your bank or your roll angles, but what it does do is mitigate wind. So if the plane is moving around because of wind and it doesn't detect any input from the sticks to cause that, then it will correct it. And that is such a nice feature for mitigating the wind. And these Byme gyros work exceptionally well at doing that. And I typically fly all the planes that I have that have a Byme gyro in them. I almost always fly in wind mitigation mode because I always have a bit of wind out where I fly. Works fantastic. Okay, the motor is I had never heard of this motor until I received the A560 3D plane. It is an SZ, Sierra Zulu, -speed motor. The motor that is in the A560 is an SC speed motor. And it's a fantastic little motor. It's lightweight and it produces a lot of torque. So you get a lot of flight time out of it with a lot of power. So this is an SC speed 1306 4000 kV motor. I already spoke about the ESC. It's a 15 amp, 5 volt 2 amp pack, 2S to 4S. The propeller that it uses is a Gem Fan 3-blade 3052 prop, and it looks to me like this is, it might be ABS, but it feels to me like it's polycarbonate. And I have quite a few of the polycarbonate props, and what I found is the polycarbonate props are more durable than the ABS props, and the ABS props are very durable. Okay, the battery it uses is HPY 2S 600 milliamp hour LiPo. It does say that the voltage range is 2S to 3S, and I did confirm that, so I'm going to be putting a 3S in it. It has a charger. The charger is the same balance charger, 2S balance charger that comes with the A560. It's a CM210 from Radiolink, and it is a 2S balance charger, and it works extremely well. It's got a little USB cable with a C-type connector on one end and A-type connector on the other. Works great. I have used mine to charge up 2S LiPos. The servos are 4.3 gram by two 4.3 gram servos, and I think that those are digital servos. Okay, it says charging time 20 minutes. The radio control, it comes as a ready to fly. The radio that came with this one, because there's 2 different radios. This is a T8FB, so this is the Bluetooth version of the T8F. And then there's a T8S FB, I think is the designation. It's a smaller form factor, kind of like a game controller size. I have reviewed that in the past. I'll try and remember to put a link to it in the show notes. But it is also a Bluetooth version. So it can use SBUS, PPM, or PWM receivers as long as it uses FHSS protocol. This is a Radiolink transmitter. I recommend using the Radiolink receivers with it. It has little toggle switches right here on the front of it if you need to reverse a channel. I did take the, it takes 4 AA batteries. I did take the battery tray out of mine because it connects with a JST connector. So what I did with mine was I put a little piece of Velcro in there, and I got a 2S LiPo in there with the JST connector connected to the power port inside the transmitter. So you can use a LiPo with it, which that's what I did. Okay, so you got everything is already programmed for you, and I'll demonstrate that here in a minute. But over here on switch SWB, which is channel 5, this is your mode switch for your gyro. When the switch is all the way up, that's in stabilized mode, beginner mode. The center position is going to be gyro mode or wind mitigation mode, and all the way down will be full manual mode, no input from the gyro whatsoever. I love the fact that all their gyros have a full manual mode on. I wish all the gyros were that way. All right, the switch over here, which is SWA, and it is working on channel 7. This switch is your throttle safety switch, your throttle cut switch. When it's in the up position, your throttle is active. When it is in the down position, your throttle is safety switch is enabled, so that you move the throttle stick. It's not going to spin up the motor. So make sure that after you bind to it, make sure that you flip your throttle safety switch on until you're ready to launch the plane. Okay. All right, so I'll show you that everything is already pre-programmed. I didn't have to do anything except what you saw me do was just slot in the vertical stabilizers. I already got the battery in the little slot here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the transmitter. I think I'm on. Yeah, I'm on. And then I'm going to hook up the LiPo here, and we'll let the gyro initialize. Okay, so we're initialized. So my throttle is not in the safety position. So if I bring up the throttle, I spin up the motor. Now if I flip my safety switch down, no throttle. This is what you want. Okay, so you see how I told you that the aileron and the elevator work together? So it's elevon mixing, and I've never flown a part jet like this before. Elevon mixing, but the aileron and the elevator are linked together. So this is in fully stabilized mode, and if I go up elevator, you see both of them go up. If I go down, both of them go down. So that I'm really curious to see how this is going to work, you know, in the air, because it'll be the first time that I've flown a plane that was linked up like that. But it should be extremely maneuverable with all 4 control surfaces working like that. So, yeah. So, you know, just make sure that everything is trimmed up. If you need to adjust anything, if anything is off, don't forget you can loosen up the screws on your linkage stops and make sure everything is all squared up before you ever launch it. Make sure that everything is nice and snug and tight, including the prop for your the lock nut for your prop. Okay, guys. Okay, so let me see. So what that does is you hear it reinitialize the ESC. It looks to me like the throttle safety switch actually disables the ESC, cuts power to the ESC. So, oh, and I wanted to demonstrate. I wanted to demonstrate that if I turn off the transmitter, fail-safe is already set up for you guys. So, all right. So let me put that back down. Turn the transmitter back on. I'm already bound back up to it. Put my throttle safety switch back on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it. Shut off my transmitter. Now that I've shown you all that, the only thing I've got left to do is take it outside, do a range check on it before I throw it in the air. But everything is working as it should in all 3 modes. The throttle safety switch is working. Binds up fine. Fail-safe is working. So as long as it passes the range check, we are good to go. Okay, so it comes with a nice little color manual here for the plane. It goes over, I think it has information on, not on this transmitter. I mean, they all work, both transmitters work the same, except you got rocker arms on that transmitter as opposed to toggle switches like this one has. but it's the same channels and everything. Gives you all the information on how everything is connected, the battery, the charger, everything is in this booklet. It's a very good booklet. And then the transmitter also came with its own manual. It's very informative. Check it out. Like I said, the transmitter comes with a AA battery tray, but you can take that out and use a LiPo like I did. It also comes with the spring arm here. So if you want to use this transmitter to fly like a helicopter, and you want your throttle stick to remain in the center for like an altitude hold type thing, you can connect the spring and this rocker arm on your throttle channel, and it will keep your throttle stick centered. So if you want to fly a helicopter or something like that, that would work for you. It comes with some fiber tape, I guess to hold down your wires or whatever. It comes with a screwdriver. They even put the spare servo arms in the bag for you, which was nice for them to do. And it has mine had a clear prop installed on it, but it also comes with a spare 3-blade prop that's a black one. And then it comes with the charger. Okay, so I can't wait to get this in the air. We've had 2 days now of sleet and snow where I live, so as soon as it stops and things dry out a little bit and I get a little bit of sunshine again, I will be taking this out to throw it in the air. I want to thank Radiolink again for sending this for review. So our first time out, we do the maiden flight. It's going to be all about the 2S LiPo with the stock transmitter. The next time we take it out, I want to test it out with a 3S LiPo with the stock transmitter. And then when I have time later on, I will set it up on my TX16S in case any of you have a multi-protocol transmitter that you prefer to use rather than the stock transmitter. I will get that set up and programmed in, and then I will provide you guys with that information later on as soon as I have the opportunity. So anyway, a very, very cool little park jet, 1306 4000 kV spinning a 3-blade 3052 prop, 119 grams all up weight. This thing ought to be a little screamer. I think it's going to be, I know with the 3S LiPo in it, it's going to be a cloud buster, but I think it's going to have plenty of power with the 2S too. So anyway, stay tuned for the maiden flight. Thanks for watching. Links to everything will be in the show notes, guys, including spare batteries for this plane. And these batteries will also work in the A560 if you have that plane, or work in a similar plane that uses a 2S LiPo. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.